everyone. So today we're doing more of psychic medium Maria Hill reacting to paranormal stories on Reddit. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe down below. We have a site with resources and answers to a lot of your questions you guys ask us about. So make sure to click the link down below or visit thehappyhealingshop.com. So Freaking Darling writes, I have quite a few stories actually, but one happened pretty recently stands out. I grew up in a very rural area, mostly crop farms everywhere. About a mile from my parents' house, there was this old abandoned farmhouse that all the kids said was haunted. They would sneak in the house after dark, all the typical stupid kid crap, but I believe there are things in this world better left alone and never went. Years passed, the house fell in disrepair and was eventually torn down, leaving an old weathered barn. Now I make a little side money selling photos of abandoned places, so I wanted to take a picture of the barn. I parked on the road and was walking up the drive. I made it about 10 feet before I just cannot walk any further. My feet wouldn't move, my adrenaline spiked, and I burst into tears. So I turned back and ran to my car. I didn't feel safe until I passed a nearby creek you have to cross to get there. I let it go, but a few months later, we had to drive past the property after having Christmas dinner with my parents, and there was a creature standing in the drive. It reminded me of the fawn from Pan's Labyrinth, just super tall with wide head and horns or antlers, but the eyes were more on the side of the head. Again, adrenaline kicked in and I burst into tears, and I was trying to keep it together because I didn't want to freak out my kids. My husband asked if I was okay. I just said, "You saw that, right?" "Yep." "Was he human?" "Nope." I refused to drive that road ever again.
That is like out of a horror movie. Also a lot of there's a lot of stories out there across the United States, but also the world about these kind of creatures that kind of sound somewhat similar, almost like humanoid hybrid with some sort of animal, bat, goat, whatever. And there very well could be different species of beings that perhaps don't lurk out in the open, and once in a blue moon we run across them. Maybe they're transdimensional, so they're coming across different dimensions in order to that's part of their existence perhaps. But what this the person writing this is describing, when they're walking into this house, for example, it sounds a lot like they're having this empathic kind of connection with the energy, perhaps even some clairsentience, which is that psychic feeling. And they're kind of maybe perhaps even sensing some sort of portal or something that has a very strong resonance. It has a certain energy to it, like, you know, that maybe something really negative happened in that house and it brought forth kind of this, it opened, maybe unintentionally, there was this opening that leads to a denser dimension or to another dimension. Who knows, really? But to have that kind of dark energy, I mean, it's not like this being gave them a good feeling. And just to clarify, not to make this answer too long, but people ask us all the time, like, well, it looks scary. How do I know it's going to hurt me or not? Like some people see things, right? Like I see things like that. And this is a good example. Like if you just automatically feel the sense of dread, like you're going to cry, like you're in danger, then you know it's not just how it looks. That's the problem. It could be that it is not a positive being of some sort. But if you see a scary thing and it doesn't really affect you very much, or even you feel uplifted from it, it might not actually be there to harm you or have any kind of ill intentions, maybe just curiosity.
Next story writes, apparently we lived with a benign spirit in a house for 3.5 years. This is my mother's account of what happened because my sister and I didn't see at the time. Only my brother, his best friend, and my mother saw it. Back in South Africa, we moved into an apartment which we had bought. The moving in was actually quite eventful because a mother and son were renting the place before, and although they had been notified, they decided to stay past the date that was given to them. I'm not really sure about the details. I was around 7 or 8. Long story short, we moved and started settling. After putting us to bed, my mother decided to stay up and watch TV. My brother was out with his friends. As she was watching whatever show was on at that time, she glances to our only plant in the house, which is about 1.5 meters tall, and sees a man roughly the same height as the plant standing under one of its leaves. Noping out of that shit, she gets up and flicks the lights on. He's not there. Calling it a night, she goes to bed. The next day, or maybe 2 days later, at breakfast, my brother, who was around 16 at the time, picked up a piece of bread, turned around to the plant and said, "Hey, Michael, want some?" Laughing. My mother asked who Michael is, and he says, "Michael's the guy standing under the plant at night." Mind you, my mother didn't say anything to anyone about Michael to not freak us out. My brother's best friend was also over that morning. We had basically unofficially adopted him. And my mother asked him if he sees Michael too, and he says yes. She then asked him to describe Michael, and he gives a perfect description down to the whites of his eyes. Michael apparently was a Black young man around 1.4 meters in height, wearing plain black trousers, a white button-down shirt, and a green vest. His skin tone was quite dark with a faint sheen to it. His eyes were also dark in color, and the whites were tinted a bit yellow. He had a permanent smiling expression on his face that didn't reach his eyes. He stayed put where he was, never moving, but following you with his eyes. One morning, my mom woke up to my dad coming home, who had brought this indoor circulating water thing. He moved the plant exactly opposite where he was, next to the couch, and put that water thing there. My mother didn't say anything, and that night, Michael also moved with the plant. Of course, after hearing this, I asked the next question that any person would ask. Why the F didn't she just throw away the plant? So yeah, that is the story of Michael, the benign, smiling spirit that was a part of our family for some time.
Why is it that like just imagining a spirit that's not necessarily doing anything, but just like, and like just standing there smiling and watching you, like that to me sounds even creepier, because I've seen this happen. Like I've been woken up in the middle of the night with a spirit doing that, and it always freaks me out way more than if they were just like neutral or you know, just standing there. So that just sounds so creepy. But that's an example of like a family that's kind of integrated themselves and said, you know what, this is our situation. The spirit's not really bothering us. We're just going to kind of integrate with the experience and just kind of get used to it, almost play along. Like, you know, as long as this being is, or this energy or this residual, you know, energy left behind is not, you know, doing anything to harm you, is not making you feel, you know, unsafe or whatever, then yeah, you don't have to just like boot them out. You know, you can just, you know, all live together in somewhat of a harmony or create boundaries and understanding, but you can coexist with these types of energies if you want.
We'd like to take a moment today to share some great resources with you. As you're exploring on your spiritual journey, it can be confusing to know what to listen to and how to trust the information that you're getting. One thing we learned was that having help and guidance along the way was invaluable. We offer online courses that are perfect for you if you want to develop your psychic abilities, become a certified energy healer, heal from grief and loss, or even learn how to build and get paid for your spiritual gifts and hobbies. If you're looking for connection, events, and perks, we are so excited to announce the launch of our Happy Healing Club, our membership that includes so many perks, such as deep dives into spiritual metaphysical topics like reincarnation, exclusive channeled messages, themed events, numerology and palm reading workshops, shadow work, self-healing journals, and membership forum where you can chat and message with other like-minded people in our safe community, and so much more. Learn more about it by checking out our website, thehappyhealingshop.com, or click the link below that will take you straight there. Now back to the episode. Tracked on Wire wrote, our dog was euthanized last year, miss her. I purged the house of all her stuff, donating all to a local shelter. The other day I was in my room, started thinking about her and cried some. I looked at her picture a while, then noticed some piece of paper on the floor. It was a receipt from the pet shop 2 years ago for dog treats. I'm puzzled because I have no idea where it came from. I don't save receipts, and yet there it was laying in the middle of the floor in my room. Oh, how sweet.
Little pupper was like, hey, don't you forget about me. But that's exactly the kind of thing that not only, you know, human spirits can do, but also our beloved animal companions. So, you know, they have this ability to communicate. And when I'm speaking with, you know, animal spirits, they are very similar. Like truly, I feel many times like I am just talking to a human that's presenting themselves as a little furry creature, you know, a reptile, whatever. But yeah, so if you've recently lost a pet, just know that they can do this kind of stuff. They can put songs on, they can draw your attention to things that they enjoy, that you might be walking around a store and you see their favorite toy, you think of them. That's a way of communicating as well.
Also, before I forget, we have a follower here on YouTube that commented on a previous episode. So I would love to read, and Maria, see you react to this. Mm-hmm. She writes, I enjoy these videos so much. Thank you for uploading them. Thank you, Anne, for watching them. I have a lot of stories, but one has stood out. On Halloween night a few years back, I was in my bedroom with my husband. We were in the middle of a conversation when I saw something flying towards my head. So I immediately ducked down, thinking it was a flying insect of some sort, but it looked like it was glowing. I saw more swooping down over my head, so I kept ducking down. I quickly realized that they were small, glowing gold orbs, and I freaked out, yelling to my husband that I didn't know what was happening. I saw more flying around the room, but things calmed down after a few minutes. He told me he saw them too, but he didn't want to talk about it. I was pregnant when this happened. Since then, we've put security cameras in our house to watch our girls, and I still see orbs flying around the room and around the baby's crib on the camera. I'm not sure who or what they are, but they appear often, and I have recorded them.
This feels like energy associated with the baby, with, you know, the child. It could be guides. It could be this child's going to be very psychic naturally, and is going to be very spiritual, and perhaps, like, you know, I've seen this happen where people, even when they're pregnant with like a very psychic child, might start suddenly having like paranormal stuff happening all around them. And then the baby's born, and it just gets more and more and more. And so, yeah, like, you're kind of engrossed in that energy and immersion with that energy of like a potentially very like open little one coming in. So to me, it feels like a positive energy. It feels like it's just part of, you know, maybe the guidance team, and other little beings that are there to help them in this life and guide them
and watch over them. But how neat that both parents saw them. Is like, oh, I didn't want to talk to you about it. I didn't want to bring it up yet.
It's so weird. Yeah, no, totally.
Well, that does it for this episode. If you like what we're doing here, and if you haven't become a patron or member of our community yet, you can do so by clicking down below or visit thehappyhealingshop.com. It helps us to keep putting out content out there, keeps the lights on for us, and helps others while we do it. And if you got value out of this video, please make sure to click that thumbs up and subscribe button down below, and also share it with a person in your life that you know would enjoy this.